Okay, fine. So today we will discuss two things. One is architecture of JVM. Then we will just go through the options which are available in Java C and Java command. Then we will try to write a very small class. Okay,
Okay, sir.
fine. Now my voice is clear, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I think the screen is already shared.
Yes, sir.
So this is called as Java Virtual Machine Architecture, architecture of JVM, right? So there is one very good textbook called as Inside JVM. You can freely download it from internet, and if possible, I'll share it. I've shared couple of books with sir. I think sir have shared the
Yes,
books
sir.
with you. Uh, is it like it includes JVM market inside JVM book also?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that's a very good book. Did you go through it?
No, sir, I didn't.
So whenever you find time, try to go through that book. It's a very, very good book. It all talks about Java Virtual Machine. So you have a separate exclusive book on Java Virtual Machine, and this architecture of JVM is picked from the textbook only, right?
Yes,
So what will happen is when we run our Java program. So how do we run our Java program? We will use this command prompt Java C. Then you compile the program, right? Something like this Java C demo.java. It's not there. So what I'll do is imagine there is a file called as demo.java, right? It is available. Got compiled Java. So how do you run a Java program? Java space demo. Am I right?
yes, sir.
So when I type this command Java space demo, here what this Java represents is Java virtual machine. So I'm invoking JVM. I'm calling JVM and I'm passing this demo.class, which is my bytecode, as input to Java virtual machine. So I'm passing my class to JVM. So generally what happens is when we learn Java for the first time in our college, what people do is they'll tell only this much Java. See, this is how you compile, and you run the program by typing the command Java followed by class name. So Java demo. So this is how you execute. This is what generally people will tell us. This is what the regular instructors will do. But what exactly happens when you type Java command is you are invoking JVM and you are passing the class file as input. Okay. So now
Yes.
what we are trying to understand is when I type this command, what will happen? What's the point? So
Yes,
in
sir.
order to understand what will happen when I invoke JVM, I should understand architecture of JVM. Okay, right? So in this diagram, if you see, there are some numbers written over there. So when I type that command Java space the class name, what will happen is Java virtual machine will be invoked and our class file will be passed as input. So step one, what will happen in JVM is this class file will be loaded into a place called as class loader, right? So first of all, the class file gets loaded into class loader subsystem. It is called as class loader subsystem, right? Is it clear, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Now in this diagram, if you observe, there are few memory areas. If you observe, one is method area, third one is heap, fourth one is Java virtual machine language stacks, fifth one PC registers, sixth one native method stack, then execution engine, native method interface, native method libraries. So in this, we will try to understand each and everything one by one. So what will happen is whenever the class gets loaded into class loader subsystem, I'll try to write it parallelly. Notepad. right? So whenever the class gets loaded into class loader, class loader is part of JVM, right? What will
Yes.
happen is step 1, JVM creates static data packets if present, because static variables may not be there. It's optional, right? In every program you need not have static data. So if at all there is some static data, first of all static data will be created. Means static variables, if you have static variables, that will be created first. Okay,
Yes.
then JVM creates lots memory for static that JVM dot memory, or you can simply combine second and third step. You can say JVM allots memory for method. But to be more clear, I have written it. JVM executes lock if present. Will right. Is it clear, sir?
Yes, sir.
So what will happen is, first of all, when the class gets loaded into class loader subsystem, what JVM does is it will look into your class. Are there any static variables available in the class? If static data is there, it will initially allocate memory. It will create static variables first. So what is the difference between static variable and instance variable? What is the difference between static variable and instance variable?
So static variable, I think there's only one. I mean, no matter how many instances are there, the allocation takes place only once or something like that.
Yes, yes. Static data, you'll have only one copy. Whereas instance variable, if you have created 10 objects, 10 copies of the variables you will be getting, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you think the same is correct for static method and instance method?
Yes, sir.
I repeat my question. For example, I have written a class. In that class, there is a method called as M1. Okay,
Yes, sir.
it's a static method. There is another method called as M2. It is not static method. Okay. Now, based when I run this program, will JVM allots memory for static methods and instance methods separately? Means for M1 it will create only one copy since it is static, and M2 is not static. If 10 objects are created, do you think 10 times the memory allocation should be done for M2?
No, sir.
Why?
I'm not sure.
It is very, very simple, dear. See, the code will not change, right?
Yes, sir.
See, whether it imagine I have written a class called as employee class. In that class, there are variables like employee name, salary, department, designation, number of leaves applied, number of leaves available, etc., etc. Suppose I want to calculate his monthly salary. That depends on how many days he was present in the office, how many days he took leave. Based on some formula, I will calculate, right? So that formula calculation procedure I'll write in a method called as calculate monthly salary. Fine. Now,
Yes, sir.
if I have 100 employees, how many objects I should create?
100.
100 objects. And for every employee, there will be a name, there will be a designation, there will be a salary. So all these variables need to be created 100 times
Yes, sir.
because there are 100 different people, 100 copies of these variables I need. That is what is the concept of creating objects.
Yes,
But
sir.
coming to methods, whether the method is static or non-static, code for calculating salary will be same for all 100 employees, right?
Yes, sir.
Is it going to change?
No.
Then why should I copy the code if 100 objects are created? Every time whenever I create object, if I start allotting memory for the method also means for the code which I have written for that methods also, if I start allotting memory, am I not unnecessarily wasting memory?
Yes, sir.
So I have written a code called as calculate monthly salary. And when the object gets created, memory should be allocated for the variables as well as for the method,
Yes, sir.
right? So first time imagine memory got allotted for variables as well as for the method. And for second object, since he is a separate employee, again I need separate set of variables
Yes,
so
sir.
that I can store second person data. But what is the procedure to calculate monthly salary of second person? It is same procedure, right?
Yes, sir.
So for same code, again shall I do memory allocation?
No, there's no need for that.
It's not required, right? So that's the point. So memory allocation for the methods will not be done multiple times, whether it is static or non-static. Method is nothing but the code which is going to work on the data. Code remains same. So for employee 1, employee 2, employee 3, for all employees, code remains the same. So I need not copy that code or allot memory for that code every time. Got it?
Yes. Yes.
That's the reason methods, whether it is static or non-static, will be stored only once or will be allotted memory only once.
Okay.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
That space is called as method area. Method area. Got it?
Yes, sir.
So method area is a place where your method, the code which you have written, that methods get stored in method area. Okay.
Yes.
And objects are created in heap.
Yes, sir.
So got the point. So in a class, I have two things. One is my variables, another one is methods. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So suppose if I have written employee class, and if there are 10 employees in my company, I will create 10 objects. So for 10 objects, 10 times memory allocation has to be done because there are 10 different people. I need to store their names, designations, department, salary, etc.
Yes, sir.
So those objects will be created inside heap. But the code which I have written inside employee class, whatever methods I have written, that code will not be saved inside heap. It will be saved inside method area. Got the point?
Yes, sir.
So please, you have to remember this. So whenever you write a class, you create some variables, you write some methods, but really when object gets created, all these objects which contains memory for the data, they get created inside heap. Intentionally code we are not storing in the heap because I don't need multiple copies of the code. Code remains the same. If it is saved only once, that is more than enough. So that's the reason methods are stored in separate place called as method area, right?
Yes,
Is
sir.
it clear, sir?
Yes, sir.
So the only difference between static and non-static method is static method can be accessed directly without creating object. Yes, static
Um,
methods can be accessed, can be called using class name. Do you remember this?
okay. Yes, sir.
We can call static method directly using class name. You need not create object. For instance method, definitely you have to create object to call that method, otherwise you can't run it. That is the only difference. Generally, what will happen in interviews is people will ask, what is the difference between static variable and instance variable? We will say, sir, static variable only one copy will be there, whereas instance variable, if you have n number of objects, n copies will be created. Then they'll ask, do you think same is the situation for static method and instance method? Immediately, since it is a continuation to that one, immediately most of the students, they say yes sir. But now you understood, no, what will happen during methods
Yes, sir.
for static method and instance method, irrespective of any type of method. Method need not be copied multiple times, so it will be copied only once, and it will be copied in one separate place called as method area. Right? The only difference between static and non-static is, if it is static, you need not create object, you can call it with class name. Whereas non-static, you need object to be created. Only with the object you can call that method. Till now, are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. So Java language stack, fourth one. Even in your C programming, you might have come across this. So do you need any stack while running programs? Do you,
Yes.
why?
I thought there was something like this. Um, like for knowing the next location of the program or something, like the program pointer.
No,
So,
program counter. It is program
yeah.
counter. It's a register, Navya. It's a special purpose register. In computer organization, you might have studied. Registers are of two types: general purpose register and special purpose register. Program counter is a special purpose register. It holds address of next instruction, right?
Yes.
So that is different. Program counter is different. Java language stack, not only in Java, in every programming language you use a stack during execution of programs. There are many cases where you come across a stack. I'll tell you what is the need of a stack. For example, if you are running a recursion program, right? Do you remember recursion?
Yes, sir.
Right. In recursion, don't you think there is a need for stack?
We're just calling the same function again inside.
Yeah. In
So
that
why would
process, do you need? Acha. I'll tell you one example. Suppose, let me write one function like int is the return type fact of n. How you write a factorial recursion code, right?
yes, sir.
If n equal to 1, return 1. Else fact is equal to what we will write, n into fact of yes or no.
Yes, sir.
So maybe initially here, instead of saying function name is fact, so here what I'll do is, I can't use function name as variable, I'll write f. Okay, got it.
Yes, sir.
Maybe this f I'll initialize to 1, right? If it is not initialized also, nothing will happen. So now what will happen if n is 5? Imagine n value is 5. What will happen? What will happen when n is 5?
It goes to the else part and then becomes 5 into fact of 4.
So let me write it here. It will go to else part. So
And x will be
time,
5 into fact of
first
4.
iteration, the current status is 5 into fact of.
4. Yes, sir.
Now this is iteration 1, sir. This is iteration 1. Now here, can I calculate the answer? Do you think I'll get the answer here?
No, sir.
So what will happen? Fact of 4, another function call is there, right?
Yes, sir.
So what computer has to do, what processor has to do, what will be the execution flow? It has to go to that function call again.
Yes, sir.
Now what will happen? I'll come to a new call now, a new iteration where fact of 4 will be called, and what will happen here? It will be 4 into fact of 2 minus 3, which is 3, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So what will happen is, see, whenever CPU jumps from one task to another task, or whenever CPU jumps from one function to another function, it can't remember. See, CPU will not have any natural remembrance power. It will not have natural memory. It can't remember things. So what CPU will do, it will try to record the current status of the variables, current status of the program before it is jumping to something else. Got the point? So what will happen is, here it will use a stack, and what it will do is, it will store the current status in the form of a stack. I'll show you. So what will happen now? In second iteration, am I getting the answer?
No, sir.
Will not get the answer. So again there is a function call, so I should again go to that call, yes or no?
Yes,
Then
sir.
it will be what fact of, am I getting answer here?
No,
No,
sir.
I'll not get the answer here. So again I should go to fact of 1. There I'll get the answer. So when n is 1, it says return 1. Then
Yes, sir.
what will happen, sir? So it will be like this. Iteration 4. There I am saying 2 into fact of 1. So n value becomes 1. So when n value becomes 1, fact of 1 answer we know return 1. So what will happen to fact of 1? It will be replaced with the answer 1.
Yes,
Yes or no? So what is the
yes,
answer now? 2. 2
yes,
into
sir.
1 is 2. Who is responsible for this iteration 4? This function called fact of 2. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So this answer 2 into 1, 2 will be returned to the next level, and fact of 2 will be replaced with 3 into 2, which is 6. Who is responsible for this call, for this iteration 3? Fact of 3 is responsible, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So it will return this 6 to this place. Similarly, fact of 4 is responsible for this 4 into 6 product. So it will return 24 to this place. And finally, I'll get my answer, which is 120. Got the point? So
Yes, sir.
in this iterations, CPU can't remember, like initially it was 5 into fact of 4. So I came from that place. I should go back to that place. CPU can't remember. So it will write it in a stack. So what will happen? An empty stack will be taken. In that it will write 5 into fact of 4. Then it jumped to fact of 4. There again it has seen that there is no result. It has to go to another function called as fact of 3. So on top of the stack it will write fact of 5 into fact of 4. On top of it, it will write 4 into fact of 3. Then it will write 3 into fact of 2, then 2 into fact of 1. Like that it will run, and whenever it will get the result in the reverse order, it will try to return the result, which is push and pop operations on a stack, right?
Okay. Yes.
So during recursion, I need a stack, and during what we say expression evaluation, also stack is used. Expression evaluation. Have you studied infix to postfix?
Yes, sir.
You have studied.
Yes, sir.
So in any programming language, there will be an expression, and expression has to be evaluated. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So what we will do, we will push all operands into one stack, operators into another stack. Then based on operator precedence, we will try to extract the operator, pop the operators and operands, and we will perform the operation. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So again, stack is used there. So while running program, definitely we need stack. That's the reason I am using something called as Java language stacks. So you understood what is the purpose of stack?
Yes, sir.
During runtime, when programs are getting executed, either for expression evaluation, during execution of a recursive call, lot of intermediate results are generated. These intermediate results or temporary results need to be saved in some place, and that is done using stack. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, what do you mean by PC register? PC register. See, register is a temporary storage device which is found inside CPU, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Registers are temporary storage devices found inside CPU. Registers are two types: general purpose register, special purpose register. Like you told, program counter, it's a special purpose register. Accumulator is a special purpose register. Instruction register is special purpose register, right? Then what we say, memory data register, MDR is special purpose register. Address register is special purpose register. All these things you might have studied in computer organization, right?
Yes, sir.
Apart from that, you have some general purpose registers. We generally name them as R1, R2, R3, like that. So if at all some data I got it from the registers, or if at all JVM wants to send some data to the registers, it will try to store them in temporary storage registers called as PC registers, right? To make it very simple, these registers are nothing but temporary storage devices available in JVM. Okay, fine.
Yes, sir.
Is it clear or not?
Yes, it's clear.
Yeah, if you have any doubt, please, without any hesitation, please do ask, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, the sixth item is native method stack. So just now you understood the purpose of stack, right? Now there is one more stack called as native method stack. What do you mean by native method? Means, see, when Java programming language was introduced in the year 1995, before Java programming language, most of the programmers, they were using other programming languages like C and C++. Widely used were C and C++. Got the point?
Yes, sir.
So what Java Soft has done is, Java Soft means the team which has developed the Java. What they have done is, in order to encourage people, see, most of the people were using C and C++. Now all of the sudden, if I introduce a new language and if I ask them to migrate to Java, it will be very difficult for them to switch on from C to Java, right? So
Yes.
what they have done, they have provided a concept and a facility called as native method interface. What do you mean by this is, suppose I am new to Java programming and in the past I have used C or C++. So Java provides you a facility wherein you can write code using C or C++, not just C or C++, some other old programming languages also you can use. So what will happen, being a Java programmer, I can call some of the functions which are written in C language. If I try to use some native methods means C, C++, other languages apart from Java. So Java provided a facility wherein you can still invoke or call or use some old programming language functions like C, C++ functions can also be integrated into Java programming language. That is possible using native method concept or native method interface, right? So if I'm using native methods, again I need a stack during runtime if there is a recursion involved or if there is an expression evaluation to be done. So just like Java language stack, if I am dealing with native methods, for native methods also there should be a stack. So native method stack is available, and this native method interface will provide me a facility wherein I can integrate my Java program with some code which was written in either C language or C++ or maybe some other old language, right? So you understood what is native method interface?
Yes, sir.
Basically, we don't use it, sir, right? Maybe in 1995 when Java was newly launched, probably at that time people might have used, but that interface is still there, that facility is still there. You can still integrate programs or functions written in C, C++ and other older languages can be integrated with Java with the help of NMI, native method interface. Got it?
Yes, sir.
So we used to have native method libraries also. Libraries means you know stdio.h.
Yes, sir.
They are all libraries like that. Native method libraries are also available so that you can call those native methods into Java program, right? I think native method interface, native method libraries, native method stack, more or less nobody is using today, but still it's there in architecture of JVM. One should know what is native method interface. So finally, what you see is execution engine. So this is the place where your program actually gets executed. Got it, sir?
So then after execution, we have this native method interface and libraries.
No. It was numbered like that. Actually, it is like, you know, execute inside execution engine, execution should happen. But suppose if my program involves any, let us say some C language function was also used in in my Java program, then during execution, it will interact with NMI. So that's the reason if you see all these three are in same level.
Yes, sir.
So see execution happens at number 7 is execution. If the program contains any native code, then native method interface will be involved.
Okay.
So 8 and 9 may be used or may not be used. It all depends on presence of native code in your program,
Yes, sir.
right? So now today who is integrating C language code, C++ language code with Java? Nobody is doing. So more or less you can ignore native method interface because we are not writing such code these days, right? Fine. So this is what is architecture of JVM. This is very important. So people don't know this, and lot of confusions will be there. And the book which I have given inside JVM is really very important. So you should try to read that book. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now is architecture of JVM clear, sir?
Yes, sir.
Fine. We'll move on.
Sir, and then execution starts from static block, right?
That's what. So
Like
this
in
this is
general in Java.
yeah, not even static block, right? See, this is the step. First, what JVM does? JVM creates static data. So execution started, sir. Once your class gets loaded into class loader, JVM starts its process. So what JVM is doing? First, it will see whether any static data is available in your program or not. If static data is available, it creates the static data. Then it will allot memory for your methods, whether it is static method or non-static method. Memory will be allocated only once and it is allotted in method area. Got it?
Yes, sir. So if there are more than one static block, then it will be in the order of which it is written, the execution.
Yes. Suppose if there is no static data, then what it will do, it will allot memory for methods. Whether it is static or non-static, memory allocation has to be done for the method and it is done only once. Then it will look for static block.
Yes, sir.
If static block is there, it will execute. That's the reason I have written JVM executes static block if present. So what happens is generally, maybe if you recollect, even in your Java lab in second year, you might not have used static block.
Yes, sir.
So that is what happens. So since you have not used the static block, you always think that maybe execution has started from main method, right? That's the reason, if you remember, I have shown you one program, right? Demo.java, right? What was the output? Am first, am second. I am first was written in static block. Am second was written in main method. Do you remember
Yes,
this? We have seen it on day
yes, sir.
one, right?
Yes, sir.
Shall I show you that program?
Yes, sir.
So it was just to prove that there is something called as static block and execution starts from static block after creating
And,
static data.
sir,
So just
one static method should be compulsory in a Java program.
no. In your second year, did you use any static block?
No,
In your Java lab, did you use any static block?
no, sir.
No. So it was not mandatory. That's the reason I have written it is if it executes a static block if present.
Okay.
So it's not mandatory, but one should know like there exists something called as static block, right?
Okay.
So generally, if you have some sort of code which need to run before main, right? Uh, it is a rare case like before main. If you want to do some initialization kind of thing, you can still do it with the help of static block, right? And if you see there is print statement called as am first, which was written under static block, am second, which was written under main method. And when we have executed this demo class, we got the output am first and am second. So it clearly shows like static block executed first and main method executed after that, right? If maybe static block does not have lot of importance, but
Mm.
this is a very important interview question, because what will happen is if you ask this question probably in your class also, almost everyone will say from where Java program execution starts. They'll say it will start from public static void main. So what will happen is if you don't know this basic point, it creates an impression to the interviewer like, okay, you don't have good fundamentals,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
Even I think even in your class, how many people know that there is something called a static block, right? Was it discussed any time in your Java class?
No, sir.
Obviously. So obviously, no, most of the people they might not be aware of static block. And if someone is asking you a question down the line, maybe you will be in a position to tell, and they will definitely they'll not be able to tell. And even if you ask, you can cross check in your class. You ask them like, uh, do you know like how objects are removed in Java? Everyone will say it's very simple. It is done automatically by garbage collector, right? How garbage collector will know automatically to delete an object? It should have some mechanism to identify which object is used right now, which object is not in use, right? Accordingly, it should come to a conclusion, then delete the object, right? So most of the time, what will happen? No student will tell
Yes.
you the answer, yes or no,
Yes, sir.
right? And if you read inside JVM, so we are trying to understand the core part of Java. That's the reason I shared that book. So what will happen is if you read this, what was the standard book you have referred for Java? Complete reference,
Yes, sir.
right? If
Yeah.
you have read that complete reference, or if you have that book, if you see it again, you will not find mark and sweep algorithm there,
Yes, sir.
right? So that's the reason we gave you a book called as Inside JVM. So even in complete reference, it is mentioned like garbage collector will be there and it will remove the objects automatically. So most of the students will give the
Yes.
same answer. It is done automatically, right? But there is an algorithm. It can't be done automatically. Automatically means you need not do it. JVM does it. That's the point. But JVM should have some mechanism or some algorithm, some procedure to do it. And that algorithm name is mark and sweep. So this is the difference between a student who is having good fundamentals and a normal student. So it all depends on the source from where you are learning, from which book you are reading, right? So please try to refer inside JVM. Fine. Till this point, are we clear? Are we clear with architecture of JVM, sir?
So, sir, and why should main always be static?
Good question. Uh, see here. Look at this class, right? For example, if I want to create object of this class, where do I write the code? Where do I write the code?
Inside main.
Inside main, right? So for a moment, let us remove
Yeah.
this static block because we were not habituated of using this one. So where do I write code to create object of this class?
Inside main.
Demo d is equal to new demo, right? So when main gets executed, then only the object of class D gets created. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Suppose I have methods like this void f1. Imagine there is some code inside void f2, Imagine there is some code inside. And how do I call them? C dot F1 dot F1. Okay.
Yes.
If main is not static, imagine main is not static, right? Methods are of two types, sir. Static method, instance method. Static method is a method which can be invoked or executed without using any object of that class. Instance method is a method which will be executed or invoked or called only using the object. Now,
Yes.
if main is not static, then I need an object of demo class to call the main. But
Yes.
object is not yet created. Then how do I call the main? Got the point?
Yes.
Right. So I need an entry point, right? I need an entry point from where I can create objects and then invoke all my methods. Yes or no? If main
Yes.
is not static, then what type of method it will be? Either static or instance. If I remove static keyword, it becomes what type of method? Instance
Instant.
method. Then to call
Yes.
main, what I need? I
You
need
need
an object.
an
Where do
object.
I create an object? Where
Yes.
do I create an object? That code itself is in main, no?
Yes.
So main has to run automatically, and main should not depend on object because object is not yet created. I need someone to run without depending on object and then create object there.
Yes, sir.
Got the point? That's the reason main is static.
Static. Yes.
Okay, right? Public static void main. Fine.
Yes, sir.
So are we clear till this point?
Yes, sir.
So why main is static? I hope it's clear to you now.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now we will see things. Is this font visible? The command prompt font, or shall I increase it?
It's visible, sir.
Right. If you want, I can little bit further. I can increase. Java. What is this? Java compiler, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm not compiling any program. I'm just trying to see the options which are available under Java C, right?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever used all these options?
No, sir.
Right. So see, just we'll go through it because one should know these things. You need not remember, but what are all the options that are available? What can be done with these options? One should know. See, it is very clearly written and you can easily understand. So minus G means generate all debugging information, right? Verbose outputs the messages about what the compiler is doing, right? Deprecation, some of the methods which are removed in old version and in new versions, if they are not supported, and if you are using some, like suppose I'm using JDK8 and my software is JDK8, I am using some of the old methods which are there in JDK5. Still I want those methods to run, then I should give this option hyphen deprecation. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And at runtime also you can give, at compile time also you can give class path that can be set using this hyphen class path option, right? So like that
Yes.
various operations, various options are available. If you remember hyphen D, when you want to create packages, you remember this package concept? No?
Yes, sir.
So to create a package is like a folder structure wherein you try to store classes under folder. So packages are created. If I want my class file to be created under a package, I should give Java C hyphen D, right? So these are some of the options available. Similarly, for JVM, there are certain options. Let me show you, right? These are the options which are there while using Java Virtual Machine. You can use them, right? You may not require all these things, but minimum awareness, right? So see here.
Yes.
Java, there are certain options, right? So in this one, if you observe, use a 32-bit data model if available, use a 64-bit data model if available, select the server VM, the default VM is server, right? There are a lot of options, and here there should be one important option. Is not showing. Minus help show version verbose. See here, jar file. Java hyphen jar file to execute a jar file. Do you know what is a jar file?
No, sir.
No.
It was there in that lib folder, right?
Yeah, it was
There were
there.
many jar
There.
files.
Yeah, it was there. But what is the meaning of jar is, for example, you have developed a small project. Let us say for your college library, you have developed a project using Java. Okay. And in that process, you might have written 25 classes. Okay. How you will give this project to
Yes,
your
sir.
librarian now? You understood my question? You,
Okay, sir. Yeah.
you have written to develop a small library management system. You have written 25 Java classes and they are available in one folder. Your program is completed, application is developed, it is working. Now you have to give this to your librarian. How you will give? Option 1. You will copy all these 25 classes in one pen drive. Go to library.
Yes.
In librarian's system, install Java. Set the path and class path. Then copy all these 25 classes in one folder. Ask librarian to type Java command, run the software every time by typing the commands. Do you think this is the option or this is the way you give the
Yes.
project to your client? Imagine you have only developed it. Now your job is tomorrow, today you have developed, tomorrow you are supposed to give. How you will give? This is how you give. Have you ever downloaded any software from internet?
Yes, sir.
Many times, right? We generally get a
Yes,
single
sir.
setup file, single setup executable file, which we
Yes.
double click and run and install it, right? Are you getting 25 classes, 30 classes when you download
Yes,
it?
sir.
Or you will get a single executable file?
No, sir.
I didn't get you.
It's a single executable file.
Right. So even your librarian will expect a
A
single
single executable
executable
file, sir.
file so that he just double clicks on it, it should run. Got the point? So in Java, jar
Yes,
stands
sir.
for Java archive. Jar stands for Java archive. So what is the purpose of this jar is if you have multiple classes and if you
Yes.
want to pack them together into a single file, right? So suppose even in your library project, there are 25 classes which you have written, but execution will start from any one of the class, right? Yes or no? Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Execution, see, you have written 25 classes, but execution, all 25 will not start immediately, right? Execution will start from one main class,
Yes, sir.
right? From there, it will be calling all other respective classes. So there will be one class from where the execution begins. So what we will do is using Java archive, using this jar file, we try to pack all these 25 classes into a single file. And we will also mention what is the name of the class from where execution has to begin. So
Okay.
then what will happen is all these 25 classes will be packed into a single executable file called as jar file. This jar file, we will give it to librarian and we will ask librarian to simply double click on this one, it will run. Of course, Java should be installed in librarian's machine.
Yes.
Understood? So to
Yes.
create that jar file, we have a command called as jar command. I'll show you how to use that jar command, how to create jar file also I will show you. Okay.
Okay.
Got it. So in Java C, are there any other important points? So these are options of Java C and Java. Till this point, are we clear, sir?
Yes, sir.
Right. So architecture of JVM is clear, and there are certain options in Java C and Java. What is a jar file? Right, because when you develop anything, you need to pack it into a single file, right? So you should know how to create a jar file. I'll show you. I'll show you when we write some programs. I'll show you how to pack them into a single file also, right? And another important point before we wind up, did you use API when you were learning Java? Do you know what is API documentation?
No, sir, I haven't used it.
That is very, very important. Not only today, not only as a learner, API stands for Application Programmer Interface. So every Java programmer, every real-time application programmer, they need this API, because how many packages, how many classes are there in Java? Thousands of classes are there. Can we remember all these classes and methods in each class? It is not possible, right?
Yes, sir.
So we use this API. API is provided for programmers, right? API is a facility given by JavaSoft so that we can use this API and try to use all built-in classes and methods, because no one can remember all these things. So what is an API? See here, I'll show you the API. This one. Java 8. You can even download this, right? Or else directly you can use it. Is it visible, sir?
Yes, sir.
So if you observe, there are 1, 2, 3 windows here, right?
Yes, sir.
This topmost left one will show you the packages. You remember packages?
Yes, sir.
So in Java, there are lot of packages, and under a package again so many classes will be there. Under each class again lot of methods will be there. So no one can remember all these classes and methods. That's the reason a detailed document of all these built-in packages and their classes, their methods, variables, everything is provided here under a document called as API. API stands for Application Programmers Interface. Got it?
Yes, sir.
So left side top left window shows me the packages. For example, let me click on a package called as java.lang, right? I'm
Yes.
clicking on this one, and you will see changes here in the window or in the bottom window. Did you notice anything?
Yes, sir.
Java.lang. So under java.lang, whatever package interfaces are there, that list is given to me. Whatever classes are there, that list is also given to me, right? What are the classes available in java.lang package? Boolean class, byte class, character class, class loader. See, class loader itself is one more class. Compiler, double, enum, float, integer, long, math, number. See, lot of classes. System is one famous class which we use, right? System.out.println. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Suppose if I click on a particular class, now in this main window, I'll get complete information about this class. So what is the name of the class, sir? Public final class system.
Yes,
System
sir.
class is child class of
Object class.
object class. See, public final class system. What do you mean by final keyword if I write before a class, what do you mean by this?
Even if any other method like extends it or something, it can't be overridden.
Not overridden, you can't inherit.
Okay, yes, sir.
No one can inherit system class. System class contains several useful fields and methods. Fields and methods means variables and methods. See, these are the variables. System.out you use regularly, right?
Yes.
System.in, system.err. If you want to flash any error message, generally we should use system.err. But we use system.out for both. And these are the methods under system class. See, what are the methods? Array copy, clear property, console, current time, millis, exit. You run the garbage collector manually. If you want to call garbage collector, it is there in system class, system.gc. Right?
Okay.
Get environment variables, get properties, right? Identity hash code, load, system.out.println, right? Do you find any print method?
No,
System.out.println.
sir.
So println, see that this is a very common interview question. System.out.println, this is what we write. But println, maybe if you remember, where is println method means system.out.println, it is in system class. This is what many people say. Did you find println method under system class? This is the list of methods, right?
No, sir.
It's not there, right? System.out.println. Out dot. What is out? Out represents the print stream. Under print stream class, there is println method,
Okay.
right? So see here, it's not there. These are all methods of. See here, print stream dot
Okay.
println. So println is under print stream or system class. It is under print stream, right?
Yes, sir.
So like that, suppose if you take string class. See what is I just press the cursor here. You can scroll it. String class. How to create string. There are some examples. Then what are the methods available in string class? For every method, again, if you want, these are constructors of string class, right? And these are the methods under string class. So can I remember all these things? Can anyone remember all these things? Impossible, right?
Yes, sir.
So that's the reason for our convenience, for programmers only, this documentation is provided and it is called as Application Programmers Interface, API. So without using API, I can't write a program. If I'm working on real-time project, I'll be writing lot of classes and I'll be using lot of built-in classes. Yes or no?
Yes,
So
sir.
obviously I can't remember. I'll take help of this API document. So one should know how to use this API document, right?
Yes, sir.
Fine. So what you do is under java.lang, there are two classes. One is called as, there is a class by the name class. You heard about this?
No, sir.
Hmm? Yes. Did you use this anytime?
I mean, as a keyword, we use it.
No, no, this is not keyword here. This is in program you write keyword like this class demo. This is small letters, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm saying there is a class by the name class.
Okay.
This one. Got the point.
Yes, sir.
So that class keyword is different. Class keyword is different. I'm talking about class called as class.
Okay.
There is a class by the name class and there is a class by the name object also, which is super class of all classes. So now you understood how to use API. So today or maybe tomorrow morning, if you find time, just refer these two classes, class and object class. What are the two important classes?
Class and
Class called as class, another class called as
object.
object, right? Please refer these two. Can you use API now?
Yes, sir.
What you have to do, just go to Google and type Java 8 API documentation.
Yes, sir.
Okay, are we clear till this point?
Yes, sir.
So a quick summary of what we have discussed. We have seen architecture of JVM in detail. We have seen certain options of Java, C, Java, and importance of jar file. Then we have seen how to use this API document. So in tomorrow's class, we will be talking about some fundamental concepts of classes and objects, and we will see how to write a class, how to create an object, what happens when object gets created, right? So core concepts of classes and objects will be discussed in tomorrow's class. Any
Okay,
doubts
sir.
till now,
No, sir.
right? Are you following, sir? Are things
Yes,
clear?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so in tomorrow's class, we will continue. Meanwhile, you just go through java.lang package, refer class and object classes. If time permits, just go through some other classes also, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then we will meet again tomorrow at around same 6:15 time. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, right.
Thank you, sir.